Hey, and welcome back here to the Dice Tower. I'm Camilla, and we're going through my top 100 games of all time. These are games that I love and I adore for one reason or another. Maybe it is the theme that grabs me, maybe it's something in the mechanisms that is really unique or just scratches this particular itch for me. So these are going to be my numbers 40 down through number 31, again, of the top 100 of all time. I want to actually shout out as well to all the people that are helping me present these games as we are packing up for Dice Tower East right now. So we don't have access to the library here. So thank you guys for the help. And with that, let's jump in and talk about some goodies. Alright, we're starting out here with kind of a spooky game, which I just absolutely adore and was a surprise to me. So Spook Manor was part of the Monsters on Board Kickstarter campaign. It was one of those extra games that they develop and throw in with the Kickstarter. And so I didn't have very high expectations because I feel like sometimes these are just afterthoughts, or one more thing they try to kind of lure you in. But I actually really enjoyed this one, honestly, as much as Monsters on Board, and it gets to the table more often. Why? Because it's quick to play, it's great at all kinds of player counts, so it scales really well down to solo and up to a larger group without adding any time, because it's just a drafting game. So you're going to be passing a hand of cards around, drafting, building up your tableau or your mansion for different scoring opportunities. So as this card comes to you, you're picking out a scoring opportunity and adding it out to your mansion, or you're inviting guests into your mansion in order to fill out those scoring opportunities. So it's a really good balance of trying to make sure you have place to put these workers, but also making sure you get the workers, or not the workers, like it's the meeples, the kids that you're trying to lure into this mansion. You want to have a space for them as well, because at the end of the game, if you can't place them, they're negative points. And I really love the simple nature of this drafting game. It is draft cards, fill up your board, and score. That's it. It scales well, it's quick, it's snappy, it's easy to learn, and it's just the right amount of spooky. So Spook Manor is my number 40. Terra is one of a very small group of games that has actually kind of creeped me out. So a lot of games that mean a lot to me are ones that after I play, I just keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about what I could have done differently strategically, or the theme really sets in, something like that. This one's all about the theme for me. I do like the cooperative nature where you're going into a cave together, or you're stranded in a cave and you're trying to find this exit. So you're just going through all these different hazards, revealing tiles, trying to find the exit and ultimately get out of the cave. This one, afterward, you just keep thinking about it. And I've had dreams about this game, in fact, where it's like, oh my gosh, if I was splunking and like caught in a cave, how creepy that would be. They have a great soundtrack as well that goes to it that doesn't play a lot of music. It's just creepy, ominous kind of music with every now and then there's a shriek of the horror. If you play this in the right conditions with the right group, it can be really scary, like genuinely scary. And I love that. I just find it absolutely fun, but I also really like how difficult this game is. So the difficult nature of this game. You have to make some difficult decisions on, are you just going to run and try to find that exit as quick as you can? Or do you kind of stay together so you can heal each other and play it a little bit more safe? But ultimately your flashlight's running out, so you do have a time. There's always a point in the game where you're cooperating. All right, every man for himself. We got the exit. Just get there. Good luck. Thumbs up. So there's always a really cool switch in the game as well. So I love Terra. I love the theme. And like I said, especially around like Halloween or something like that where I want a little bit creepy. Oh, Terra is fantastic. My number 39. The Lost Expedition is really unique and interesting to me because it's a good, I guess, contrast in cooperation and communication. Now we see this a lot, limited communication cooperative games. There's a plenty of them. But I like the contrast in this one where there is one phase where you cannot talk at all and one phase where you can discuss everything. So there's no limited communication, it's on or off, and that's it. And I think it's a very clean system with that. So In the Lost Expedition, you are trying to ultimately go far enough down this hiking trail and find this lost city. In order to do that, you have to play out the hands in your cards to choose your path along the day. These cards are going to have some really good benefits, they're going to have some really bad benefits, there's going to be some that are really bad that offer a really good resolution, different things like that. And during the first phase, you are putting the cards out with certain limitations. You know, you can maybe put it on the front or the end, or you have to put them in numerical order, depending on which round you are in. But also, you're playing out all the cards, and you can't talk at all about what you have coming up in your hand. And no one at the table can. Then you get to the resolution phase where then you resolve them in the order that they are on the table. So you're really, as you're playing these cards out, you're trying to set yourself up to skip the really bad ones, but make sure you have the resources you need. But you can't tell them that. You can't be like, I have this great card that if we just had 2 more bullets, we could make happen and then we can finish the game. You can't say that. You also know that card in your hand is going to have to be played because you don't get more cards until everything is played out. So you're trying to figure out the optimal order to do these cards in without discussing anything. But then you get to the discussion, and it's so rich because the cards have different options you could choose. Depending on which one you choose, ultimately decides if you survive the day and eventually find this lost city. So such a great contrast of I can't talk at all to it's full open communication that just leads to really enriched gameplay and such a good experience where everyone's mind is at work. You know, it's at work when you're sitting here trying to figure out why they played it, where, and what you can do to kind of help them or prepare for this other card you have. And then when it gets to the discussion, everyone's weighing in, and it's just a really engaging and deep gameplay. Very surprising for just a deck of cards and a couple tokens. So my number 38 is The Lost Expedition. The Reckoners is an IP-based game on Brandon Sanderson's novels of the same title, The Reckoners. So this is the series that I have read a couple different times, I do enjoy, and I was so excited about this game. IP games though, I don't know if you're like me and they're kind of hit or miss. It's like I get really excited about them because I love what they can do and they can bring to life what I've already imagined and played with in my head, and to see that out on a board is just such a great experience when done right. But it's been done wrong so much that it always leaves me a little apprehensive. The Reckoners, I think, does it really, really well. It is a great implementation of an IP in which the superheroes are the bad guys. You know, they've kind of gone crook here. And you are playing as the heroes in this, the normal humans kind of fighting this. I love how this game brings a good balance of you are the normal humans, you know, without these special abilities, but yet you still have this unique and kind of powerful feel to you. I think it's really interesting with the Yahtzee style dice rolls where you get two re-rolls, so one re-roll with 2 re-rolls, keeping at least 1 die from each of those rolls. And so you go into that phase where you're ultimately rolling for your actions, right? You go into that phase with a plan. You've all talked about, all right, I'm going to try to contain this epic over here, which is the superheroes in this, or super anti-heroes, super villains. So you go into it with this plan of what you need to do. I'm going to try to contain. You're going to try to take out some of the enforcers. You over there, you're just going to move around and try to manage this area, maybe completely take out this epic and just kill him, right? So you have a plan, but then you have that first dice roll and it's like, oh guys, I'm not set up at all for it. And so you have a moment and you adapt and it's like, all right, I rolled a lot of this symbol, so let's switch strategies in the middle of trying to get your strategy, if that makes sense. So you're rolling, thinking you know what you're going to go for, and it doesn't work out, and in the middle of those Yahtzee rolls, you have to switch gears and go for something different and adapt. Then you get to the resolution phase, and it's all hands on deck, everyone trying to make it work and take down this major epic over here, this steel heart. So I love that nature of it. I love how tactical this game is, how you have to be quick on your feet, you're constantly strategizing, you're constantly adjusting, and just picking away at these super anti-villains, heroes, I don't know, these baddies, these bad super baddies. I love it. I think it's a fantastic IP, and I think it's a even better implementation of it, and it just really sells it on this world. So my number 37 is The Reckoners. Dead Men Tell No Tales is the game that replaced Flashpoint Rescue in my personal collection. Now, I don't think it replaces it as a game completely, but it did replace it in my personal collection and in my top 100 ultimately, because with the theme, it's just one that I'm more drawn to, and my son is more drawn to, so therefore it just gets to the table more. It also is a good alternative to Pandemic for me. You'll see maybe coming up here shortly that it's not replaced Pandemic, but it gives me that same feeling without replacing it. It kind of builds upon it. I love the moment in the game where you are just having to accept that this ship is going down. It's gonna burn. But what can I do to get in there and still complete my objective in time? So just like in Flashpoint Fire Rescue, things are going crazy. Your goal in that one is to go in there and just rescue as many people as you can or meet this objective, right? Same thing here in Dead Man Tell No Tales. The ship's sinking. It's gonna go down. It's on fire. It's gonna burn. But can you go in, get what you need, and get out and get off this ship in time? I love it. It's a fantastic theme. It's very well done. And it's familiar enough to where I think you can pick up the gameplay quickly if you have played Flashpoint Fire Rescue or Pandemic, but unique enough that it stands on its own and just really brings a good experience to the table. So my number 36 is Dead Men Tell No Tales. Here at the Dice Tower, we played Last Aurora as a catch-up palooza about 1.5 years ago at the time of this recording here. So Z taught it to both me and Mike. And while Mike had some problems with the conflict resolution or the fighting phase of it, I absolutely fell in love with this game, and actually now I'm here at the Dice Tower, I'm the one that likes it the most. It is absolutely one of my, well, my number 35, as you can see. I was going to say one of my favorites. My number 35 is Last Aurora. I love the race feeling of this. It's a great race because ultimately, if you don't make it to the ship at the end, you're not, well, I guess you are eligible to win unless somebody else makes it. So if somebody makes it to the ship at all, then you have to make it or else you're not eligible to win. Now, if nobody makes it, you kind of go to a different scoring option and ability, and you have to be prepared for that one as well. But so you have this feeling of racing towards the end, but at the same time, you're needing to level up your own caravan here, not your caravan, the people, the abilities, your actual crew. You're leveling up, getting stronger and getting beefier, but not getting too distracted about that because, again, you're racing to that end. So you really have to keep that in mind of like, wow, this is such a cool, I can go further in this one, but it's going to cost more fuel. So can I afford that? Oh, I can get these these big guns attachments and then be better at combat. But is there that much more combat coming up? So you're balancing a lot of these decisions, ultimately trying to be at the right level, trying to be strong enough and have what you need to reach the ship at the end. It's great Euro mechanisms of resource management, but it has that also just good Ameritrash dice chucking feel when you get into the combat. I absolutely adore this game. I think the theme is cold, it's dark, and by the end your caravan does feel scrapped together, which is what you would do in this setting. And so the gameplay sells me on the setting, which I'm already there for. Last Aurora, my number 35. Well, I didn't want to leave you in suspense too long on where Pandemic would land, so here you go at my number 34. Now note, I do use the Pandemic Legacy Season 0 as a placeholder for all Pandemic games. I just think it's easier in my mind to kind of lump them together on this top 100. The Legacy Season 0 is my favorite of the Legacies. And probably of all the Pandemic games, I think that having the Cold War is just so unique, in having the different spies that you're sending out and you're trying to build up your safe houses and visit them. I really enjoy the theme and think it comes through really well in the Pandemic Season 0. It's just some of the most memorable moments of this game have come from that version specifically. So that's why I chose it here. But what I love about this is I think all of the Pandemic versions still stand strong on their own. And I have multiple of them, and I'll pull them out for different reasons depending on what theme I'm going for or feeling like. Just the other day, I pulled out the Cthulhu one and played that one again. And I was like, man, I really like this one. And then a couple weeks before that, I just pulled out Rising Tide and played that one as well. I was like, gosh, I really like this one. So each one is very unique, and I think I would recommend it for which one draws you in? Which one are you excited about? Which theme do you see? And you're like, that really speaks to me. And once you find that one, maybe venture into the Legacy games because they are just memorable. They're epic, they're memorable, they're heart-stopping. You know, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have a great time. And if nothing else, you'll have memories afterward. So Pandemic, running strong, still so very, very much fun to me. Even to this day, even, 10, 12 years later, I'm still pulling these off the shelves to play. I love it. Number 34 is Pandemic, specifically Legacy Season 0. Bad Company was kind of a hard game for me to describe. I kept finding myself come to roll and blank kind of game, right? Because it kind of has that feeling. It's kind of a roll and move, because you are rolling dice, and depending on which ones you choose, you might get to move that many spaces along a track. It's also kind of like a roll and write, where you roll dice and you decide which one you're going to use, and everyone else gets to use everything else. So it kind of has these different elements of different roll and games that I like. But at the same time, it's none of those. It's not a roll and move, and it's not a roll and write, and it's not a roll and flip or anything else, but it kind of has that feeling. There's just so much game behind this. I love, once again, this is a racing game where there's an end point that you're trying to get to. In this case, that triggers the end of the game. There are negative points if the cops catch up to you, things like that, but you're just trying to get down the track here. At the same time, you're leveling up your crew. Oh, I love leveling up crew and building up characters. And this one is really, really fun because you're playing with your odds. You're rolling the dice and you want to roll certain numbers more. And on those ones that roll more, you really want to beef up those actions. But you also know everyone else is going for those numbers and those actions. So what if you beef up your other ones? Because if you get stuck with those bad numbers, then you get really fun turns. So it's a fun game of playing your odds, building up your character, racing down a track. A lot of fun things can happen. Ultimately, you're doing kind of a contract fulfillment out there, just trying to fill these contracts to, get all this loot. And so it's a lot of fun. I find it goes over really well in even larger groups, up to 4, 5, sometimes even 6 players. It's just a good game to bring to the table, and it always leaves me with a smile on my face. I love Bad Company, and it's my number 33. Another new to me game is Adrenaline right here, and this is one that was brought to me by Chris Yee. He kind of went back and forth for a while on this one. He's like, I think you'll like this game, but I don't know, I can't quite nail down your taste. And if you know anything or follow the channel, Chris has had quite a few misses with me trying to read my taste. But this one sang so good, and I think that he just absolutely nailed it with my taste in this. It's Euro mechanisms, feeling like Ameritrash, or like with this Ameritrash kind of theme, right? If you have ever wanted to be in a video game, this is it right here, Adrenaline. You're out there and you're playing cards to move around and to resource collect and to beat up on the other players, right? It's very combat heavy. But what I love is there's no player elimination. So you're going to die. And when you do, you respawn like a video game. So it doesn't feel as targeted and negative. You know you're going to get hit, but you also know by them being in line to hit you, you're set up to do it right back. And so it's all about getting these kill points or these blood tokens rather than actually player elimination. That's really unique for me. It also has such a good combat system without feeling like a combat game. So this one is just so unique in all of those things. You're playing a Euro game, but you feel like you're playing an Ameritrash game. You're taking out the bad guys, but this isn't a player elimination kill combat game. So it's just kind of an anomaly, and that's what I found playing it, and it just left me thinking about how I could have been more efficient in those kills and how I could do better next time and what I can set myself up for and these different combos. I love it. Adrenaline is such a sweet spot and such a unique game to me that it's my number 32. Wrapping up this list, of course, is the epic Sleeping Gods. Oh, it is so epic. It is such a great experience. I love that this game is one continual play session, but it can be split up however you want. So there's lots of different natural breaks, I feel like, in order to hit pause. I do think it's a little bit of a slog to pack up, and so I usually, when I am going to go into one of the 10, 15 hour play sessions, I'll just kind of dedicate, a week or two and that's what I'm doing for that week or two. But you can get up, you can take a break and go outside for a run. You can take a break and go make dinner. You can take a break and go watch a movie. I don't know, maybe go to work, something like that. But you can take these breaks because it's once you finish or once you wrap up an action, it's an easy pause button. And then you come back in, you still have all your key words out, you still have your good map that you've taken your notes on and know where you're going, that you can just jump right in, back into it. And because of that nature, you still get this really big, epic feeling where your decisions really matter. Did you talk to somebody? Did you have the right keyword when you needed it? No? Oh wow, 3 islands later you find that keyword. Do you decide to go back and see what that was about or continue on this quest that you're currently on? So there's lots of decisions upon decisions upon decisions that actually really do build and matter. You can play it over and over again because of one small change will affect the entire storyline. It's epic, it's great, it's deep, and what you do matters. That's what I want out of this. I want to go into this game and visit and be transported to another world, just like they are in the theme of this game, and that's the feeling that this game gives me. I love it. Sleeping Gods is fantastic. My number 31, and gonna wrap us up this week. All right, another week down. There is 40 through number 31 of my top 100 games of all time. Which of these are special to you? Do you enjoy, or have you had adverse reactions to? Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to share your fun stories. These games mean so much to me, and I think what's unique is every single one I can recall 1 or 2 specific play sessions that just have a special place in my heart. So I love these games. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll see you next week. Take care. I'm Camilla.